I've lived on my family's 40-acre farm for as long as I can remember. The land is old, fertile, and fully documented with county-recorded surveys going back 90 years. There's one gravel road leading to my farmhouse, and that road is mine, clearly marked on every map, deed, and plat. The WA next door, they came later. 15 years ago, developers bought land east of my farm and built a premium lifestyle community. They paved roads, installed streetlights, created a pond, and formed an WA full of people who believed a fence line negated the existence of private property rights. Most of them didn't bother me. Except Karen. Her real name was Teresa, but the neighborhood called her Karen because she had all the traits: clipboard, sunglasses she never removed, and the ability to escalate any situation into a lecture about community standards. She wasn't just a member of the HOA, she was the president, treasurer, and self-appointed neighborhood dictator. Through some terrible twist of fate, the new neighborhood's back entrance sat near the edge of my property. It wasn't connected to my land, but it might as well have been, because Karen refused to accept that her WA roads weren't shortcuts to the county highway. And so the story begins. The first crossing. The first time Karen drove across my property, she claimed she was just testing the terrain. Her SUV rolled straight over my alfalfa field and back onto the paved WA road like she was sightseeing. I waved her down. "You're on my land," I told her. She laughed. "Oh, don't be dramatic. It's open space. You can't own open space." "Yes, I can. And I do." "Well, maybe you shouldn't leave it so open." That was the beginning of the war. The WA map. The next week, I found a paper in my mailbox, a printed map, drawn by the WA. It showed the rear corner of my farm labeled as unused access route, as if that magically made it community property. I marched over to the WA board meeting. Karen sat at the head of the table like a dictator in a lawn chair throne. "That's private property," I said, slapping the map down. Karen didn't even look up. "We've decided your land is the most logical route for our residents to reach the highway. The main entrance gets too congested. You don't get to decide anything about my land." She gave me a pitying smile. "It's really for the greater good." I left before I said something regrettable. The daily trespassing begins. Over the next month, more and more WA residents started using my field as a cut-through route. SUVs, minivans, golf carts, they all followed the ruts Karen carved with her oversized luxury crossover. I put up signs. They tore them down. I set up a temporary fence. They drove around it. I spoke to the sheriff. He sent warnings. Karen tore the warnings in half in front of me. "We're the homeowners association," she sneered. "Your old paper deeds can't override the needs of a community." I stared at her like she'd lost her mind. "Property law literally says they do." She waved her hand dismissively. "That's your opinion." That was the moment I realized I wasn't dealing with ignorance. I was dealing with entitlement so dense it could bend gravity. The damage becomes real. Then came the morning when everything changed. I stepped outside to find deep tire ruts cutting through my irrigation system. One of my drip lines was shredded. A valve had been broken clean off. Water was spraying 10 feet in the air like a fountain. I followed the tracks. They led directly to Karen's house. I marched over there and knocked so loudly the door rattled. Karen opened it with a smirk. "If this is about the little water spout thing, you should really secure your infrastructure better. You destroyed it, allegedly. There are tracks leading from the break right to your driveway." She shrugged. "There's no proof the tracks are mine. You're the only one with tires that wide." She laughed. "Don't body shame my vehicle. That repair cost $1,200. "Well," she said, crossing her arms, "that sounds like poor planning on your part." I went home. I paced. I fumed. And then, I got an idea. A legally beautiful idea. The calm before the trench. First, I called the sheriff. He confirmed, again, that the land was mine and that I was free to install any reasonable property protection measures short of lethal force. Next, I consulted a property lawyer. She confirmed the same thing. Finally, I checked the weather forecast. Rain, heavy rain, 3 full days of it. Perfect. Digging the trap. Remember, I'm a farmer. I own equipment. And my equipment includes a backhoe. I spent 2 days digging a long trench along the edge of the path the WA kept cutting across my property. The trench was about 4 feet deep, 6 feet wide, 60 feet long, enough to stop a vehicle, not enough to hurt anyone. Then, on the 3rd day, the rain came, and the trench filled with mud. Thick, sticky, shoe-stealing farm mud. I placed reflective markers, warning flags, and bright orange signs that said, "Private property, do not enter. Trench ahead, turn around." I even put blinking battery-powered lamps around the edge. Everything fully legal, everything fully documented. Karen ignored every bit of it. The sinking of the SUV. It happened at 7:13 a.m. on a Monday. I was drinking coffee on my porch when I heard the familiar humming roar of Karen's SUV engine. Then, the revving grew louder. She wasn't slowing down. "Oh no," I murmured. "Oh yes," a better part of me whispered. Karen's shiny white luxury SUV shot out from behind the HOA's back gate and sped across my wet field, tires spraying mud. She saw the trench. She did not care. She accelerated. And then, thunk. GLLLLLLLLRRRRRRSH. Splat. Her SUV nose dived directly into the trench like a hippo entering a bathtub. Mud shot up over the hood. The vehicle tilted forward at a 30-degree angle, but in the air, front buried like a stuck arrow. The engine sputtered. The wheels spun uselessly. Mud splashed against the windshield. I nearly dropped my coffee from laughing so hard. But the real joy came when Karen burst out of the driver's side, covered in brown sludge from chest to shoes, screeching like a banshee. "What did you do?" I walked over calmly. "I dug a trench. You sabotaged me." "No," I said, pointing at the 50 signs she drove past, "you sabotaged yourself." She screamed. "This is illegal. It's on my property. You can't prove that." I held up the county plat map. She shrieked louder. "Well, you should have warned us." I did. She threw mud at my boots. "I'm calling the WA board." "Please do," I said with a smile. The WA tries to fight back. Later that afternoon, I received a cease and desist letter taped to my fence. The WA claimed my trench was a public safety hazard. I had violated community access routes. I had malicious intent to obstruct homeowners. I sent them a copy of the sheriff's written approval and my lawyer's statement. They tried sending me fines. I ignored them. They tried threatening legal action. My attorney responded by mentioning counter-suits for damages and trespassing. Finally, Karen organized a town meeting and tried to rally homeowners against me. It backfired spectacularly. Turns out, most of the residents never wanted to drive through my property. They hated the cut-through traffic. They were furious that Karen had encouraged it. She lost the confidence vote. She lost the presidency. She lost her ability to boss people around. And, ironically, the WA paid for the tow truck to retrieve her sunken SUV. Karen attempts one last stand. You'd think the story ended there. But Karen wasn't done embarrassing herself. The day after she got her SUV pulled out, she marched onto my porch, covered in dried mud, demanding I pay for her repairs. "You owe me $8,700. She screamed. "For what?" "For the bumper, the axle, the paint, and the psychological trauma." I took a step inside and returned with every piece of paperwork. Photos of the signs, the sheriff's note, my lawyer's letter, a time-stamped video from my farmhouse camera showing her speeding toward the trench. I handed them to her. She flipped through the pages, face turning redder and redder. "This is harassment. This is documentation." She threw the papers into the air like confetti and stomped away, slipping in the mud and falling on her back. I didn't even laugh. Not out loud, anyway. The aftermath. The new WA board sent me a formal apology. They installed a permanent fence on their side of the boundary. They even offered to pay for my damaged irrigation system. As for Karen, she quietly put her house on the market 2 months later. Rumor had it she couldn't stand people whispering, "Trench diver," when she walked by. Her SUV, it never recovered from the mud bath. Neither did her ego. The best part, after she moved away, the neighborhood threw a small get-together and invited me. The new HOA president raised a glass and said, "To our neighbor, the man who finally defeated Karen. I've never been applauded for digging a hole before. But I'll be honest, it felt amazing. Dash dash dash.